Good afternoon. This is a permit review committee of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks. This is a regular meeting. Today is Thursday, September 2nd of 2021. And I would like to call this meeting to order. Commissioners, after you, please reply present, and you can see me or and hear me when I call your name, please. Commissioner Ponce.
Here I can see and I can hear you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes.
Present, I can see and hear you.
Commissioner Osmond.
I can see and hear you.
Commissioner Jacobich. Commissioner Jacobich, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Just please confirm that you can see me and hear me.
Yes, I can hear and see you.
Thank you. Last year, Governor Pritzker signed Public Act 101-0640, making certain amendments to the Open Meetings Act so that we, along with other boards and commissions, can continue to host virtual meetings during this COVID-19 public health emergency, provided that certain conditions are met. One of those conditions is that Chairman Wong of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks can determine that an in-person meeting of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks and its permit review committee are not practical or prudent. I want to make sure our virtual meeting meets all the conditions of the Open Meetings Act as amended. Therefore, Chairman Wong has made a determination pursuant of Section 7E2 of the Open Meetings Act that an in-person meeting of this Commission on Chicago Landmarks and its permit review committee is not practical or prudent. Similarly, he also determined pursuant to Section 7E5 that because of the disaster as declared by the governor, it is unfeasible for at least one member of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks or its chief administrative officer or its chief legal officer to be physically present at the meeting place for either meeting, inasmuch as there is no physical meeting place. Pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Commission on Chicago Landmarks on June 4th of 2020 regarding the chairman's emergency rulemaking powers, Chairman Wong issued emergency rules governing the conduct of remote public commission meetings and provisions for the remote public participation, effective January 19th of 2021. These rules were posted on the Commission's website. In line with these emergency rules, today's regular commission meeting is a virtual meeting being simulcast to the general public via live streaming. Commission meetings have been held virtually since May of last year. Meetings are structured to minimize the chances for technical difficulties. Members of the general public have been encouraged to submit written statements in advance of the meeting, and these have been posted on the Commission's website and are available for public view during the virtual meeting at www.chicago.gov/ccl. Members of the public desiring to speak at today's meeting were required to register before the meeting, and verbal statements by the public for all agenda items will take place at the beginning of the meeting. Applicants and their representatives, as well as aldermen, were asked to contact staff if they desire to speak, and they will be able to do so after the staff presentation on a specific topic, specific project. No one has registered to speak on any of the agenda items, so we will now go through our agenda. Our first item in our agenda is the approval of the minutes of our previous meeting. A regular meeting held on August 5th of 2021. Commissioners, as a reminder, when you wish to speak, please make a motion or a second motion. Please press the raise hand function on the panelist window at the right side of your screen, and I will call upon you. Can I please request a motion to approve the minutes of August 5th meeting?
Commissioner Osmond, I approve the minutes of, make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Osmond. Can I request a second motion?
A second, Commissioner Ponce.
Thank you, Commissioner Ponce. I'm gonna do the roll call now. Commissioner Hughes.
Approved.
Commissioner Jacobich.
Yes.
And myself, Commissioner Aguirre, also yes. The motion carries unanimously and the minutes will be posted on the commission's website. We're going to move into our item number 1, which is at 1936 South Michigan. It's the Second Presbyterian Church. And I would like to call on Emily for the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the church is proposing a number of interior improvements to the parish house, which is west of the sanctuary, as well as the addition of a new wheelchair ramp on the south elevation for an accessible entrance. So the church is proposing to make several improvements to the parish house, which is to the west of the main sanctuary space and highlighted in yellow. The first floor of the parish house is home primarily to the double height fellowship hall and parlor. These spaces have been altered significantly over the past, and photos provided by the applicant indicate that many original features were likely removed in the past. The wooden wainscoting around the room is proposed to be retained, as are the arched reliefs on the north elevation. The original stained glass windows to the west are also proposed to remain. In the fellowship hall, there is currently a non-historic suspended acoustic tile ceiling that is proposed to be removed and replaced with a painted coffered ceiling with concealed LED cove lighting. The design of the coffered ceiling is a simplified, compatible reference to the ornate coffered ceiling found within the main sanctuary. The walls above the wainscoting will be covered in acoustic paneling and a lightly textured wall covering. And wooden wainscoting matching the height and profile of the walls will be added to the columns throughout the room. The non-historic carpet will also be removed and replaced with new wood plank flooring. The parlor space is very similar to the fellowship hall, but without the paneled wainscoting around. So minor modifications are made to this, or proposed to be made to this space, with the largest intervention being the addition of a full height wall to the east. You can see it drawn in yellow there to enclose the room, removing the currently open portal to the northern stair. The third floor consists of the gymnasium, where no work is proposed, the boutique room, the music director's office, and the Oriole room, and a conference room. Besides the ornate windows, which are proposed to remain, these spaces are largely plain. 2 windows in the boutique room, which are not visible anywhere from the street, are proposed to be replaced in kind. And similar to the other spaces in the parish house, the church proposes to replace the non-historic flooring and repair plasterwork as needed throughout the 3rd floor. The church's southern stairwell is in the southwest corner of the parish house and will largely remain as is. The current men's and women's bathrooms on the 1st floor behind these stairs are proposed to be renovated with new fixtures and tile, with no work proposed in the main sanctuary. Because of the significant modifications in the past, the compatibility of the improvements, and that the work will not result in removal or loss of any existing historic elements, staff recommends approval of all interior modifications as proposed. So in order to add an accessible entrance to the building, the church is proposing the addition of a ramp on the south elevation, approximately 8 feet in width and 56 feet in length. The northern side of the ramp will align with the south bell tower entrance bay, which allows for a significant setback from the sanctuary wall and windows. Something else to mention is this won't encroach into the public way. Will still be on the church's property. The existing stairs will be salvaged and put in storage for future use, and the new ramp will connect to the bell tower entrance with a 1/2-inch expansion joint, leaving the existing door threshold to remain. The northern side of the ramp will also feature a minimal metal safety handrail with decorative posts to match the handrails on the east elevation of the church. The ramp is designed to be constructed primarily out of concrete with an overlapping step design of sandstone stairs. The stone treads are 1 foot in width, with a new tread introduced approximately every 14 feet. Because of the step design of the ramp, a second handrail to the south is not required, further minimizing the visual impact of the ramp to the building. Because of the necessity to add an accessible entrance to the church, the non-intrusive minimal design, and the setback from the front facade, staff recommends that the new ramp will not be an adverse effect to the building and recommend approval as proposed. Material samples shall be submitted to staff prior to order and installation. The last bit of work is onto the west elevation of the building in the southern corner along the alley. The church is proposing to add exterior HVAC equipment in an existing setback bay. 2 wooden bumper rails are approximately 6 feet long and 2 feet 8 inches high will be installed to protect the equipment from vehicles driving through the alley. This elevation is largely unornamental, as you can see, and because it is a secondary elevation, staff recommends that this location will not be an adverse effect to the building. So staff recommends approval with the condition mentioned. An approval letter from Alderman Dowell was included in your packets, and I believe we have a representative from the church, the historic consultant, and the architect here, if you have any questions for them.
Thank you, Emily. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Emily at the moment? Let me change my settings here so I can see you. I don't see any hands. Okay. So yeah, now if there are no questions for Emily, now we would like to hear from the applicant and the representatives. If necessary, we can call on others in the applicant's party, but at this time, can we please hear from the project's historic consultant, John Kramer?
Yep. Hi, can you guys see and hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Hi, my name is John Kramer. I'm from McCroskey Historic Advisors here in Chicago. I'm serving as the historic preservation consultant for the Second Presbyterian team. I'm also a volunteer tour guide at the church for the independent nonprofit Friends organization, which helps with preservation efforts of the church. And I'm also joined on the Zoom today by a representative of the church, Mike Bellatier, and the project architect, Don Shapiro, in case the commission members have any questions. In case you're not familiar with Second Presbyterian Church on South Michigan Avenue, it's a National Historic Landmark church. It's well known for its 1870s Gothic revival stone facade, its stained glass windows, its very unique arts and crafts style interior. So the congregation is making the proposed changes that we're requesting today as part of a National Fund for Sacred Places grant opportunity with the goal of making it easier for the public to access and enjoy this historic church. The team is also applying for funding from the Adopt a Landmark program as well. And if you haven't been to the church, we invite you and all members of the public who may be listening in to please come down and see Second Presbyterian at one of our public tours. And just wanted to thank the committee for your consideration and thank Emily Barton for your help, Emily, with the very nice presentation and for your help guiding us through this process. And I and the church representative and architect are available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. I have a question out of curiosity. So previously to the ramp, how there was no accessibility for people in a wheelchair to access the church, correct?
I'll let, I'm familiar with the church, and if I'm wrong, Mike or Don, tell me, but at the moment, there is no permanent ramp, permanent accessible walkway into the building, no.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that accessibility adjustment to the entrance is being made to be more inclusive, and obviously for all the reasons that you stated, so more people are able to enjoy the building. I've been there multiple times, so I highly encourage my fellow commissioners to visit if you're not familiar with it. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Kramer or for Emily?
I just want to make a comment. I'm a big fan of the church and have toured it many times, and my fingers and toes are crossed that you're successful in this grant because I know how much love it still needs. So good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Osmond. Anyone else for either of the modifications, adjustments that Emily presented? Are there any questions? Oh, Commissioner Jakovich.
Just a quick comment. I think it's a nice solution with the ramp. I think it makes the entrance, brings it on a platform and really celebrates it. Plus, of course, accessibility. So I think it's well done.
Thank you, Commissioner Jakovich. I agree. I want to echo that because ramps are difficult, especially to integrate into historic structures. And I think the solution found is very elegantly designed. Both the material and the formal solution are really compelling. So thank you for that effort. Commissioner Hughes. You are on mute if you're trying to speak.
I did not try to raise my hand again. Hi, yes, I agree and concur with the previous comments. I would also just add that it's really wonderful that you guys are providing more accessibility to the main entrance as opposed to, we've seen so many just weird solutions and obviously ones that are not ideal in scenarios like this, but the fact that all of those folks, no matter their transport and mobility, will be able to enter into the same entrance of the building is really commendable. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question. When do you look forward to? I know you mentioned all the funding and resources that are coming to support this this construction adjustments. When do you look forward for regarding implementation?
Regarding starting work. Yeah, I know that we're in for permit now, I believe, and I in the next couple of months we'd be starting work.
We'll look forward to it. Commissioners, are there any additional comments or discussion points on this agenda item? I don't see any hands. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I would like to request a motion to adopt the staff recommendations for this project.
So moved, Commissioner Jakovich.
Thank you, Commissioner Jakovich. Can I request
Hughes?
Second motion? Thank you, Commissioner Hughes seconded the motion. Now I would like to take a vote on the motion. I'm going to do a roll call. Commissioner Ponce.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Ponce. Commissioner Osmond.
Yes.
Thank you. And myself, Commissioner Aguirre, I also vote yes. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much, Mr. Kramer, for joining us and presenting your case. Good luck with all the follow-ups and permits and construction.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to move into item number 2 of our agenda, 225. I was hearing. Oh, it's background. Or it's a from my end. Sorry about that. 225 Eugene and Old Triangle District. I would like to call Mary for the presentation.
Commissioner Aguirre, Chairman Aguirre, there's a lot of feedback.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Great. Okay, thank you, Chairwoman. As you mentioned, this is 225 West Eugenie in the Old Town Triangle District. This building is a raised 1.5-story Italianate gable front frame cottage built in 1874. The proposed project includes partial removal of rear structures and a new rear addition with 2 new shed dormers. Letters from members of the community were received both in support and opposition to the proposal, and those letters have been included in your packet, including a letter from the Old Town Triangle Association. Okay, so The owners are proposing to remove portions of the existing rear additions to the building and construct a new rear addition which matches the width, height, and roof slope of the front portion of the property. They also propose to expand the living space on the attic floor with 2 new dormers on the east and west slope of the roof. This exhibit shows the extent of removal and the proposed additions on the east elevation, and the next slide will show the exact same thing on the west elevation. As I mentioned, the rear additions are proposed to match the historic cladding and align with the existing walls and roof lines. So in May of 2010, the commission adopted criteria to be used in evaluating whether proposed new dormers on front-facing gable-roofed cottages in the Old Town Triangle District will have an adverse effect on the district when such dormers would be visible from the public rights-of-way. Staff reviewed the proposal pursuant to these criteria and also reviewed a mock-up at the site to determine the potential visibility of the proposed dormers. As proposed, the east and west dormers are about 10.5 feet wide and set back from the front facade 25 feet. They are located approximately 1.5 feet below the ridgeline and have 3/12 slope. The dormers are approximately 42 feet in length, and they're located to provide the required clearances and emergency egress for proposed living spaces at the attic level. This is the existing and proposed front elevations, just to give you a better sense of the shape and size of those dormers. So the dormer policy for the Old Town Triangle District recommends a 25-foot setback or a setback equal to the length of 60% of the primary gable roof structure, whichever is greater. The primary gabled portion of 225 Eugenie is 55.68 feet in length, and that results in a recommended setback of 33.4 feet. Therefore, the applicant would be required to set back the proposed dormers an additional 8.4 feet in order to meet the dormer policy. In addition to the dormer, the applicant also proposes a skylight on the west slope of the roof. Staff recommends that this be approved based on its minimal visibility, provided that the curb is low profile and matches the color of the roofing shingles. According to the applicant, meeting the 33.4-foot dormer setback requires the elimination of a bedroom, bathroom, and laundry room due to their inability to provide sufficient floor area with the minimum required ceiling height. And these are some graphics that they put together to kind of illustrate the additional square footage that would be provided by that 25-foot setback. The applicants provided dormer mock-ups for their preferred 25-foot setback for staff review. Based on the mock-up, the east and west dormers are somewhat visible from vantage points to the north. Because the property aligns with Crilly Court, there are additional points of visibility further north, although these are minimized by their distance from the property. And these 2 vantage points show visibility at the corner of Eugenie and Crilly, and a little bit further north on Crilly. And the next slide shows some additional vantage points visible also further north on Crilly, and then back to the east corner at Eugenie and Crilly. To support their case for a decreased setback, the applicants provided perspective renderings from both the 25-foot and 33-foot dormer setbacks to supplement the mock-up provided for staff review. Based on the renderings, the dormers set back 25 feet are slightly more visible than those at the 33.4 setback. And here are some additional images kind of giving the extent of visibility from all of those different vantage points up and down Crilly Court. In December of 2009, the committee approved construction of new dormers at 335 West Concord. In December of 2011, the committee approved dormers for the home at 319 West Concord. Both of these projects met the dormer policy, but present greater visibility from the public right-of-way than the proposed dormers at 225 West Eugenie. For that reason, we are presenting two options, recommended conditions of approval. The first recommended conditions suggest a strict interpretation of the policy, requiring that it be modified to set the dormers back to meet that policy of 33.4 feet. And then the remaining conditions relate to the siding of the dormers and the proposed skylight. The alternative recommendation suggests that based on the minimal difference in visibility, that the committee could approve the proposed setback of the dormers of 25 feet. And then of course, the other conditions remain the same. That is really all I've got to present. I do want to mention that the architects and owners are at the meeting as well. And I believe they'll also want to address the particular issues of the project. If there's any questions for me, I'd be glad to take those now.
Thank you, Larry. Can you all hear me well? We continue to have this feedback sound.
It's actually Larry Shore's devices, yes, too. So Larry, please keep yourself muted until the last second you have to speak. That'll work.
Oh, I see. Is this better? Okay, great. I'm glad we figured that out. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Larry at this moment? I don't see anyone wishing to speak. Okay, now we would like to call, we would like to hear from the applicant and the representatives. If necessary, we can call on others in the applicant's party, but at this time, can we please hear from the project architect, Pam Lamster Millett?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me and see me?
Yes, we can.
There, I'm a little less backlit now. Okay. Hello, I am Pam Lamaster Millett from Searle Lamaster Howe Architects here in Chicago, and my colleague Matt Soroman and our clients Janine Hayward and her husband Mark Koenig are both on the call as well. Just a little bit of background. Our clients have lived in Old Town for over a decade. They formerly lived on St. Paul. They walked past this property on Eugenie many times as kind of a leap of faith, started leaving letters, to see if they could purchase it. Fell in love with it, were able to acquire it. They really want to stay in the neighborhood. Basically, their townhouse on St. Paul was getting a little small for their growing daughters and, extended family getting older and coming to visit. So the acquisition of the house on Eugenie was, very wonderful, although they went into it with open eyes that it is an older home that has not been renovated since like the late 60s. So they understand there is a fair amount of work that, needs to take place in order to keep it, serviceable and make it into a more functional family home. So we've been working with them in order to design a level where they could accommodate their 4 family members on one floor. So hence the addition of the attic. We're extending the house a little bit in an addition off the rear, which is not visible from the front. It's a 115-foot deep lot, so we're limited with the setbacks of how far back we can go. Hence extending our desire to extend the dormers a little bit more forward than the guidelines in order to meet all of those head clearances and get windows, which will meet egress for use as bedrooms upstairs. We went through several iterations, presented to the Old Town Triangle Association. We looked at different plan types and even changed our design a little bit based on some of their recommendations. And we were initially looking at taking down more of the existing structure in the back. The owners have elected to leave some of that structure in order to, placate some of the requests from the committee. And we do feel that, after doing the mock-ups and our renderings that it is not much of a visible increase to do the 25-foot setback. So we are still requesting that from the committee, and we thank you for your consideration. Anybody have any questions for us on the design?
Thank you so much. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the project architect? I apologize, I mispronounced your last name.
I just have a clarification for my maybe other people. So the Old Town Triangle District for the dormers, they have a more stringent. Is it the zoning code that's in, or is that a unique guideline from Old Town's the Old Town District?
It's unique to Old Town.
So it doesn't have. It's not in the Chicago zoning code or anything like that. It's unique to the guidelines that are developed by Old Town. Got it. Thank you.
Correct.
Commissioner, if I might add, the guideline or the policy is actually what was approved by the commission.
It was approved by the commission.
It's not a document approved by the, generated by the community. It's the commission
Thank you.
document.
Okay, thank you. That helps.
Thank you, Commissioner Yakovich, for that question. Yeah, I think, yeah, we have reviewed a few cases where, we have this two kind of guidelines, like the general ones and then specific historic districts. I think I do have a question, and I appreciate the multiple studies that have been done specifically in views. The view studies from the Eugenie Street to just kind of understand the visual impact of that dormant addition. Thank you, Joyce, for bringing that up on the screen. So yes, so the impact. So we're looking at the impact of 8 feet of difference, and the 25 versus the 33 feet setback on the dormers, which seems very, very minimum to me. Is there other cases, Larry, in which this condition has been, I guess the setback has been modified from the guidelines of the district?
Maybe not a one-to-one comparison, but it is not unusual to kind of visually illustrate the differences between commission policy and the proposed increase or decrease of those requirements to demonstrate that they are not a significant change between the two. I can't think of any cases where we did this with dormers, but maybe Deanna can. She worked very closely to develop those dormer guidelines.
I can add that I do not have a case regarding dormers, but I do actually have a similar case that, if you recall, a theater on Clark, and it was a condition where the landmarks ordinance allowed that a taller addition could be built. This is a village theater. It could be built a certain distance back, I believe 64 feet back from the front facade of the theater. And as part of the project review, the developer showed renderings like this, studies of what it would look like if a taller building was built at 64 feet back versus a little closer distance. And the commission did take that into account when they were making their decision regarding the overall project. So I see this kind of similar, where you are basically judging what is the true adverse impact to the structure, considering all of the various circumstances, limited visibility, and frankly, also similar projects that were approved under the exact same criteria, but arguably more visible. Just because those circumstances were such that the exposure was larger, and you had a different context to work with.
Thank you, Deanna. That's very helpful. Larry, too, that was very helpful clarification. Commissioners, do you have any additional questions for Larry or for Deanna or for the project architect? I don't see anyone requesting to speak. Can we go to the last slide, please? So what we're looking at is the motion that we would be making would be for either of the alternatives, right? And
I believe so. Is that right, Larry?
That's right. We wanted to present both options so the commission could discuss and determine what was most appropriate in this situation.
And I'm assuming in this case, the option A is a proposal or that we're looking to support, and B is just in case we, as a committee, thought that the variance between the two options, the visual studies, would be impactful. So, commissioners, I guess my question is, if there's no further discussion and questions for the staff or the project architect, I would like to request a motion to adopt the staff recommendation for A, which is kind of on top of this. Yes, do you have a?
It sounded like it may have been the reverse. Or A is for the 33.4 and the B is for the 25 feet.
Larry, can you help us?
That's exactly right. Is the first recommendation strictly interprets the required setback for the dormers to meet the 60% length of the building of 33.4. The option B would provide some relief from that, allowing them to have a lesser setback, which is what they would prefer, of only 25 feet.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to motion us to approve staff recommendations for option B.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes.
I second that motion, Commissioner Oz.
Thank you, Commissioner Osman. So I'm going to do a roll call on staff recommendations for option B. Commissioner Ponce,
Yes.
Commissioner Jakovich,
Yes.
and myself, Commissioner Aguirre, also I also vote yes. So the motion carries unanimously. Staff recommendations option B. Thank you so much again for presenting this, project architect and the owners that were here. Good luck with the project. We understand it's difficult always to expand and do work in this historic structure. So we appreciate your patience and the willingness to revise multiple times with help of our staff. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Our third item in the agenda, 7027 South Constance in the 5th Ward. May I call Emily for the presentation, please?
Yes. Hi, Commissioner. So the subject property here is located mid-block on a double lot between 70th Street and 71st Street. The property currently has a small detached garage in the southeast corner of the lot, and the applicant is proposing to remove this garage, which does not meet their needs, and build a rear addition to the house with a new attached garage. So the subject property includes a large main house, you can see, built in the Georgian Revival style, and a small craftsman style garage. Many of the properties within the district include garages that replicate the style and features of the main house. You can see the examples on the side there. This is likely one of the reasons why all structures were included within the designation ordinance. While it is unclear when the garage at 7027 South Constance was built, You can see it's in a drastically different style from the residence, so it's very unlikely that the garage was original to the house. The garage is currently in poor condition, and the applicant would like to demolish it, building the new addition with new attached garage, reusing the existing curb cut and driveway. Although quite old, the garage does not mimic the architectural style of the house, as is emblematic of the district, and staff recommends that its demolition will not be an adverse effect to the property or district. So the new addition that I mentioned is located entirely behind the existing footprint of the house. It is inset 1 foot to the south and 11 feet to the north. It's proposed to extend approximately 41 foot 4 inches to the east and will include additional living space and an attached 2-car garage. A new rear deck is proposed to the north. You can see it kind of dashed in there in yellow. It's set back approximately 5 feet from the existing north elevation and will not be visible from Constance Avenue. The addition is proposed to be just 1 story in height and clad with masonry to match the remainder of the house. 2 separate carriage-style garage doors are proposed for garage access, with new gable roofs clad in architectural shingles to match the existing. Because of the location of the home on the lot, similar to many other properties in this district, any addition to the building will be somewhat visible from the street. Staff recommends, however, that this proposed location is the least intrusive, and because of this and the district context, staff recommends approval of the new addition with the condition that masonry samples be reviewed and approved by staff prior to order and installation. The applicant is proposing to also add 2 new shed-style dormers to the rear of the house. A double window dormer approximately 8 feet long at the south and a single window dormer approximately 6 feet long at the north. These dormers will allow for additional headspace in the 2 third-floor bedrooms. They will be located approximately 1 foot below the existing roof's ridge line and are proposed to be clad in a stucco finish. Because of their location, these dormers will not be visible from the street, and staff recommends approval as proposed. So, a non-original 3-sided dormer bay protrudes from the roof on the front facade. The applicant's proposing to remove this element and restore the western slope of the roof line to its original condition with architectural shingles to match the existing. Because this will be the removal of a non-original element, staff recommends it will not be an adverse effect to the building. The applicant is also proposing to replace the original windows with new aluminum clad windows throughout the entirety of the house. The new windows will match the existing masonry openings and mutton patterns of the original windows, and staff recommends approval with the condition that proposed window details be submitted with the permit application. 8 stained glass windows surround the front door to the main house. The applicant proposes to replace these windows with clear glass. While it is unclear when this element was added, it is a historic feature and likely original installed with the decorative door surround, and staff recommends that they should be retained. So overall, staff recommends approval of the project with the conditions I've already mentioned. Both the Alderman and the Jackson Park Highlands Association were notified of the project by the applicant and by us, but no written comments were received. But I believe the owners and the project architect are here if you have any questions for them.
Thank you, Emily, for this presentation. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Emily at the moment? Well, in the meanwhile, I don't see anyone wishing to speak or having any questions. Okay, can we hear now from the applicant and the representatives? If necessary, we can call others and the applicant's party, but at this time, can we please hear from the project architect, Mary Richard? Is Mary Richard
yes,
involved?
I'm here. I had to unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I know you can't see me, but I want you to at least hear me. So I'm Mary Richter. The firm name is Waterborne Design, LLC. And I've been working with the homeowners, Terrence and Darylyn McLean, since earlier this year when they purchased the home. I know they are very, very excited to be part of this special historic district. And so we've been working together to get to this point, which is basically working on the exterior to get the approval through this commission. And so here we are. This home has not been renovated for several decades. It's, I would say it's the interior specifically is pretty much kind of living in the 60s, 70s era. And so the whole entire home interior needs to be updated to meet the new homeowners' needs. So in that design process, the homeowner wanted some extra room, living space, and so that's where the addition came from. And like I said, the rear dormers in the back are just for egress purposes and a little bit of additional head height back there. Other than that, we're trying to match existing finishes with all the new to match existing, to be as sensitive to this historic district as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that additional context and information. Commissioners, do you have any questions at this moment, either for Emily or the project architect? I just want to comment on what a beautiful home and structure, especially this imagery like lingering at the end of the presentation is quite impressive. So commending the team, the homeowners, investing also in preserving this. I see Commissioner Hughes.
Yeah, I do think it's a beautiful home as well. And some of the features, like even just the entrance, is really beautiful. And I'm excited to see. It's very rare that we have owners that want to restore or return back to original features. And the fact that you guys are doing that with such a prominent elevation in that front roof is really appreciated. And why we enjoy the work that we do. I also will say too, it looks like, sorry. You guys, can you, Emily, take us to the driveway plan? I'm looking at it on a different screen. Sorry, guys. So the fact that you are, yes, utilizing your existing curb cut, really kind of less intrusive, making sure that front elevation is really just valued and continuing to be this beautiful, majestic, it is a majestic looking home, is really appreciated. Thank you, guys. Oh, also on the front of the house, it looks like one of the shutters is missing. Is that an up-to-date image or is that just me being picky on that last photo, Emily?
It does appear that a shutter is missing, yes, on the top there. I'm not sure, these photos are from a little while ago, I think, so I'm not sure of the existing condition, but perhaps the architect could speak to that.
I didn't notice that either. That can be added back very easily. So thanks for pointing that out.
Yes,
you can add that back as an item number 4 on the requirements.
Yes, thank you. I was just going to say that I'd recommend that as a 4th item if it is indeed missing. I don't know if this is an old photo or not.
Yeah, it actually could be sitting within the house somewhere. I'll talk to the homeowners about it and see if they've come across it. And if not, we'll have to replicate it to match.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioners, any additional questions? If there's no further questions or discussion, I would like to request a motion to adopt staff recommendations. Commissioner Hughes, since you had an addition, would you like to make that motion?
Sure. I motion us to accept all of the staff recommendations 1 through 3, with the addition of 4 being for the owners to add the missing shutter back to the window. I'm not sure which direction that window is facing, but yeah, that's my motion.
Thank you. May I request a second motion?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobich. Then I'm gonna proceed with the roll call. Commissioner Ponce.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Osmond.
Yes.
Thank you. Myself, Commissioner Aguirre, also vote yes. And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much for this presentation and for being here. And that's the last item in our agenda. Good luck with the rest of the renovation process.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioners, this is it for me. I want to thank you also for sharing the space and for all the productive discussions and the shared learning that we have here. I'm also grateful for your kind words from earlier. You know, we'll stay connected for sure. And without there being no further business, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Can I have a second motion?
Commissioner Osmond seconding it, and I want to make a remark that it's 2:38 in the afternoon. This is a novel experience.
This is unheard of.
I know, it's my gift to you all. I'm not just kidding. It's a farewell gift. No, it was a gift for all of us.
Gosh.
From the staff and all. Well, thank you, everyone. If everyone approves, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you for your service, commissioners. It has been a pleasure to serve with you. And thank you so much again for the staff for all their support. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and afternoon.
Thank you.